to my channel. My name is Tolu. I'm a Christian dating coach. And guys, I wanted to share today on why you're dating like a mother. You're not dating like a wife, okay? And this applies if you are actually a mother and even if you're not a mom. Now, this is a trend that I've seen just coaching clients, giving clarity around their dating process, helping them to understand how they can attract men they can actually marry and have quality dating experiences. And currently, my one-on-one program, Dating to Marry, is open. That's the program where I show you as a woman of faith how to attract men you can marry, because I strongly believe you get to choose your husband, just like my clients have successfully done. So if you want to work with me one-on-one and start attracting men you can marry before the year of 2023 is over, then just click the link in bio to apply and you'll be able to get clarity around your dating process really quickly. I just have a very simple form for you to fill, and that is where I get understanding around your dating issues and your dating dilemmas very quickly, right? So if you want clarity around your dating process and you want to work with me to start attracting men you can marry, just click the link in bio to apply. I want to talk about dating like a mother. Okay, so if you've ever noticed a trend where you feel like you're dating a guy that you are babying, basically you are nursing, you're responsible for him financially, emotionally, you're regulating him, you're the one that is in charge of the relationship in terms of what you're doing, where you're going, you're always the one anchoring how you guys see and regulating where you guys meet. If you find that your partners tend to lack emotional accountability, be very immature, lack spiritual sensitivity, that is different from spiritual maturity. Spiritual sensitivity is different. Now, how this manifests is they have a lot of narcissistic traits. They may serve in church. They may have speak in tongues or whatever, whatever visible measure you're using to be able to determine if they're in the faith. But when you get closer, you see that it's infantile behavior. Okay, they tend to get very easily angered, prideful behavior. Spiritual sensitivity is lacking. If you find that you're attracting men of this nature in and out of the church, when I say in and out of the church, I mean the physical building, and you're always in a situation where you're the one trying to make the relationship work, this man is refusing to take financial responsibility of how both of you are going to move ahead in the relationship, you're dating like a mother. Why you need to understand this is, if you keep dating like a mother, you're going to keep attracting men that are children. You're going to keep attracting boys. You're going to keep attracting men that are not ready for a relationship, not to even talk about marriage. They can't even face that direction. You're going to keep attracting men that are stuck in the present, not willing to discuss the future, have no business in the future. You're going to keep attracting men that cannot provide you, cannot protect, and cannot preserve the kind of relationship you desire to have long-term with a partner. When you're dating like a mother, the reason why this is happening is you are stuck in that identity. So you're stuck in the identity of being a mom because you will find patterns in other areas of your life where you have taken maternal responsibility for your relationships. Maybe you have eldest daughter syndrome. Maybe you're the eldest child in your family and you're responsible for your siblings. Maybe in your relationships and your friendships, you're the one always regulating how friendships are operating. In professional settings, you're responsible for everyone's actions. You either carry that role professionally or at the very least internally, in terms of acting like a manager, regulating how people have interactions in the office. There's a level of manifestation in other areas of your life where you are comfortable exercising that maternal instinct. And it's because you like being in control. It's because you like being in control. It's because you like being in charge. It's because it anchors you in a way. And I guarantee this is a trauma or trigger response based on your upbringing, your exposure, your environment. And it's manifesting as well in relationships because that is the identity you're most comfortable in. And this is why I always say the way you show up professionally will not help you in dating. You may be professionally successful, you may be financially successful, but your relationships are suffering because your relationships are a true reflection of who you are as a person. It is not a mirror. It is literally a reflection of you. So you cannot hide, you cannot disguise yourself. So when you're stuck in that identity of being a mom, that is the only way you're going to keep dating because that's all you know how to do in terms of staying in control. That is the only way that has worked for you in other areas of your life, and you think that will work for you in relationships. But all it's doing is attracting men that are not ready to take financial responsibility. They're not ready to even take emotional responsibility. They're constantly leaving you in a cycle of confusion. You're attracting men that you have to convince as to why there should be a relationship, and even not even a relationship, why they should treat you with respect in the dating process. Okay? Excuse me. Why they should treat you with respect in the dating process. So that's what starts happening as a result of you being stuck in that identity of being a mom. And you're unclear what it's like to get to know him as a man. Okay? You only know how to deal with men, based on a maternal instinct, looking at them as a child, maybe because you're the elder sibling. That's the most immediate example I can think of. Or, only know how to deal with men in professional settings, which is why you're turning all your dates into interviews. Or, only know how to deal with men in an antagonistic way because you've always been in situations where you felt like you had to defend yourself as a woman, or you had to speak up for your voice to be heard. So you're unclear what it is to actually get to know him as a man, like just looking at him as a man, looking at him in that identity without attributing any other identities to him, as your boss in the office, or your younger sibling, or somebody in your past that mistreated or disrespected you based on you being a woman. You don't know how to look at him as a man. And here's what's interesting. It's because you don't know how to step into your identity as a woman. Okay, and this is why you struggle with femininity. This is why you struggle with stepping and resting in your feminine essence, so to speak. I shared a post earlier about not being able to release control in the dating process, and that's why you struggle to rest in your femininity, because you're so comfortable being in charge and in control. And the truth is, in the dating process, what that comes up is as masculine energy, and as a result, you start attracting men that have childish behavior, emotional immaturity. You start attracting men. And the thing with this is you're not even able to identify when you're looking at a man that is comfortable in his identity as a man, that is not attributing other, identities to himself, whether he's a father, whether he's a son, whether he's a CEO, whether he's financially successful, professionally making waves or whatever. You can't recognize that kind of man because you are not stepping into the feminine identity that requires you to see that kind of man easily. Okay? So that's why it's so dangerous to be dating like a mother. But a lot of you are doing it, okay? And you kind of have to catch yourself in the process. And this is something that I do with dating to marry clients. I've literally walked clients through the process of stepping away from that identity. Clients that actually are mothers and clients that are not mothers but have taken on that identity just because that is how they feel like they can establish control in the relationship, and they can feel some level of trust and security and feel comfortable in stepping into their transparency. But the problem with that is, because you're stepping into that role of maternal instincts, or you're acting like a mother, you're going to be attracting men that do not know how to lead. You're going to be attracting men that are not comfortable with the concept of leadership, not to even talk about the characteristics that are involved with being a leader. Okay, you're going to find yourself in situations where you're constantly in a cycle of the same relationships with different men, same issues, same problems, usually around the same time stamp. 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, whatever the case may be. And it's because you're unclear about how to step into your identity as a woman. And one thing we do with dating to marry clients, one thing I do with my clients in dating to marry, is really getting them comfortable in that identity of being a woman. Okay, and every client has had a different, experience of this. I've had clients come into the program that are clear around, okay, this is the kind of man they desire, but they don't know how to step into the femininity that requires them to attract that man. I've had clients that are mothers come into the program and be unclear how to just separate themselves from that identity of being a mother, having children, or a child, and just being comfortable dating for what they actually want, as opposed to looking through the eyes of being a mother and looking for what is needed in a man, because wants and needs are important. That's another area that the program covers. So it's a really holistic program in the sense of addressing your problems holistically in the dating process. And this is a key theme that I see with women, especially if you've taken on leadership roles. Maybe you had to take on responsibility very early on in life. You were very attached to your parents, or had some level of fealty, or felt some level of responsibility to your family. That's how it manifests when, in the family setting or professionally, maybe you just had to prove yourself constantly again and again and again. And as a result of that, you're so comfortable in that, when I say that expression of self, that you carry it into the way you date. As a result, you start attracting men that actually need help. That's what's going on. You start attracting men that actually need help. Men that are emotionally unstable, emotionally immature. You start attracting men that are not ready for anything serious, are not interested in commitment, because you're stepping into that maternal. And what does a mother do? She nurtures. What does she do? She covers. And that's the dynamic that you're currently manifesting in your relationships, because you're dating like a mother. Okay, so that's why it's so important to be able to step into your identity as a woman. And what is a woman? A woman is someone that, is comfortable in her femininity, recognizes her identity and her essence and the attraction of it, is comfortable in her sensuality, her sexuality, which is why I'm not a fan of how this is downplayed in the church. Sex and sensuality is very important in the dating process in terms of being able to establish what you are attracted to and why you're attracted to it, and really being tapped into your feminine nature and being able to hear the Spirit of God as a woman that desires to have a family and raise a home. Okay, it is very important. That's another thing that I address with clients in Dating to Marry program, because it is part of how they are going to pick their partners. And it has successfully helped my clients to step into marriages with men that they are now building homes with, they are now having children with, and they are now establishing a generational pattern with, so to speak. And guys, as always, I'm looking at my notes, because you all know these are mini trainings. So I like to take notes to make sure that I don't leave anything out. Another thing that happens as a result of you dating like a mother is you start committing way too quickly. Okay, because you stepped into that identity, you start committing. And think about how this has manifested in other areas in your life. You've committed yourself in your relationships, in your friendships. You've committed to certain things in your family, and in other areas professionally, you've made commitments that were not comfortable for you and not necessarily in your best interest. That's because you're stepping into your identity. There's nothing wrong with the maternal identity, but the problem is you're using it in the wrong way. Okay, and as a result, you get committed too quickly in relationships. You find yourself getting attached to one man prematurely. You start having all these expectations based on the experiences that you want to have with him, not the experiences you are having. Okay, because a lot of you, I'm going through Dating to Marry applications and I'm seeing patterns of, okay, you're not being taken on dates, you're not being courted, you're not being pursued, you're financially responsible for these men that you're entertaining or you're exclusively involved with. It's because you've committed so quickly that it has removed the requirement for them to pursue you as a woman. And it's not even about the physical commitment. I was literally having a conversation with a friend earlier today. We're just catching up and we touched on this, and it was so interesting, the points that she was making, and I'm just going to address some of it here, just kind of thoughts that came out of that conversation. And guys, it's really important to have friends in your life. I believe in quality over quantity. So like when I say friends, I mean men that are close to me. And I really believe in, making sure that the connections that you have in your life serve a quality purpose. Anyway, we were talking about this, and, it was just interesting because, like I'm saying in this conversation, you find yourself committing mentally too quickly, you find yourself committing emotionally too quickly, and as a result, the physical commitment is not even necessary. That's why they don't commit. That's why they don't commit physically, because what's the point? I mean, you're already doing all the things. You're already saying all the things. You're already here when I need you, and when I don't need you, you're available to support. So why is a physical commitment necessary? Because men are very logical and women are emotional. The way they process information is different from us. So when you're dating, one of the key aspects we address in Dating to Marry is how you approach the dating process by reading men. Okay, I show clients how to do this. It's not by interrogation or interviews or constant back and forth. I show clients how to read a man's intentions through his actions. Is literally a process I put clients through. It makes it easier for them to be able to make decisions that are in their favor of stepping into a quality relationship that will lead to marriage. But because you're in that maternal instinct, you commit too quickly. You have too many expectations based on experiences you want to have with this person, not experiences that they have already provided for you. You find yourself in situations and scenarios where you're constantly dragging the relationship. You're constantly trying to make it work. The relationship is dead, literally. And you all know I'm very direct. It is dead on arrival, but you drag it on for another 3, 4, 5 months. So you think you're in a relationship or you're not. You're just monitoring a dead object. However you want to categorize a relationship, in this instance, I'm calling it an object. It's because you committed too quickly. So it's difficult for you to let go. And as a result, you don't vet and qualify properly. By vetting and qualifying, I mean looking and observing. So vetting means that you look for the basic qualities that you desire, and qualifying means that you observe how those qualities that you desire manifest, to be able to know exactly if they match what you desire. this is basically what I teach clients in a nutshell, how to vet and qualify men properly so that they attract, their husband. Because you have to be to become. In other words, as scripture says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. You have to be a wife to become a wife, right? You have to be a wife to become a wife. So my whole process is around being a wife so that you can become one. So as you're being a wife, you attract, he who finds a wife, you attract husbands, you attract men that desire marriage, that desire a quality union, and you become a wife, right? It's actually that simple. That's the breakdown. Anyway, the final point I want to make on this is you're unsure how to approach dating step by step without getting hung up on the destination, because in your head you're already in the maternal stage. Okay, you're already regulating from the perspective of being a mother, protecting your family. You're already regulating from that energy of having an entire household, whether this is an actual fact or not. Point is, you're kind of taking that stance in dating. As a result, you find it difficult to slow down, to pace yourself. You find it difficult to actually get to know this person on a step-by-step basis, point by point, to see if they're in alignment with meeting and matching that actual desire in reality. You get stuck in your fantasies, and your fantasies start working against you. One minute you're fantasizing about marrying this person, having a home with them, and then in reality, that's not your experience, and you start fighting with your fantasy in reality by trying to make a relationship work that doesn't exist because you're hung up on the destination, right? So that's the problem when you start dating like a mother and you're not dating like a wife. Okay, I'm going to repeat my points again. You're stuck in the identity of being a mother. In fact, I guarantee that there are other areas in your life where this maternal instinct is manifesting. It could be in your relationships with friends. It could be the fact that, there's something called eldest daughter syndrome. On Google it. It's basically, as an eldest daughter, you feel all this responsibility and so on and so forth. You may not even be the eldest daughter, but you are stepping into that identity as being a protector of your family. And professionally, you've had to prove yourself and you had to nurture your career, so to speak, which required a lot of dedication, a lot of focus. Just think about mothers. A lot of focus, eliminating distractions, a lot of attachment. And it has served you in all those other areas. You have nurtured those relationships. You have nurtured that profession, and it has grown. So you think, well, this works. Let me carry it into relationships. But it has the opposite effect. You attract nonsense, so to speak. You're basically just attracting trash. Okay, men that are emotionally immature, lack spiritual sensitivity, are unable to provide, protect, preserve, are not in a position to be an equal participating partner, right? It's because you're stepping into the identity of a mom prematurely. And whether you are or you are not a mom in real life, this is what is happening. Okay, so I just want to make this clear that this is happening whether you actually have children yet or you do not. Another thing that I said is you're unclear what it's like to get to know him as a man because you don't even know who you are as a woman. You only know your identity as a daughter. You know your identity professionally, whatever role you're taking up. You know your identity in your friendships, in your family, in your relationships. You don't know your identity as a woman. You're not comfortable with your sexuality and your sensuality. You're not comfortable with expressing your femininity. You're finding it difficult to actually enjoy the process of just resting in being a woman, in being aware of your aura, in being comfortable with being attractive. It is difficult for you to stay in that space and to rest in it. And as a result, you don't even know what the right man for you looks like. You don't even know how to look at men as men without looking at him as your ex, as your father, as your ex-partner, as your brother, as your sibling, or whatever the case may be. You find it difficult to just look at him as a man. And it's translating in the way you're dating because you will not even know what quality when it looks like you. You will not know what a quality man looks like when he looks at you. If you have any questions, drop it in the box. So I was so excited. You get committed too quickly, and the commitment is too much. Like you're putting yourself in a position where you're giving everything so quickly, so soon, because you're living through the eyes of a mother. You're thinking ahead. A mother, think about, the women that act as mothers in your life. They're always thinking about your future. They're always thinking about your safety. They have a certain level of anxiety whenever you do something that they don't consider to be particularly safe. And that is how you're treating this person that you're getting to know. So, you're anxious about the relationship. You're anxious about the process of getting to know them. You're always your head is in the future. So you're getting committed too quickly and you're unsure how to, as a result, you can't stay in the present because you're too hung up on the destination. Now, how I address this in Dating to Marry, and that is the container that I address all this through, because I show my clients how to date like a woman, how to date as the woman that they are, not like a woman, because obviously they are women, how to date as the women they are, so that they can identify men that they can marry and build healthy long-term relationships with, and generational blessings with, so to speak, is we break down your dating habits. This is all in your habits, right? What I've just described, it's coming out of your habits. We clarify your own process as a woman so you can date from that identity and step into your femininity. So, because I see questions around, how do I do that? How do I do that? By stepping into your identity as a woman, you will know how to step into your identity and rest in your femininity. And that is a process I walk Dating to Marry clients through. And the reason I say it's a process is because it requires a transformation. How you currently are cannot occupy and does not have the capacity to carry out that role. It's like trying to be an engineer when you've never read anything about engineering, you don't have any engineering experience, you are going to be lost. All you know how to do is be an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor, because that is your expertise and that is your area of qualification. So literally, I just put clients through the process of being able to step into that identity of who they are as women, so they can identify their own expression when it comes to femininity, and it's easier for them and it's simpler for them to be able to know what the right man and how to attract the right man for them. That's why clients come into the program and within weeks they're attracting men. Within weeks, men want to take them out of dates. They're qualifying men. It's simply just a shift in positioning. Now, Dating to Marry also shows you what your husband looks like now, because a lot of you are dating a finished product that doesn't exist. And what I mean by that is you're dating a man that you literally will not meet today because you're the one going to help him to get there. It's like trying to think about a destination without actually going on the flight. It's always going to stay in your head. So what we do in Dating to Marry is we show you how to know what your husband looks like now and in the future, so you know your, what's it called? How do you call it in flight terms? So you know your present location, your place of origin, that is now, and your destination, that is the future, and the journey, okay? So now you're able to establish a journey, right? So that's what I help clients do so that they don't get caught up in the past. So, and a lot of you are doing this. You're dating like a mother because you're caught up in the past. You're caught up in your past identity as how being in a maternal instinct has served you, professionally, financially, emotionally, but it's not serving you in the dating process because it's just attracting men that are not serious into your life. Okay, so that's what I do with you through the Dating to Marry program. We clarify this process, literally make sure that you are clear on your habits so that you are stepping into your role as a woman and you can leave that maternal instinct where it belongs. And then you can now attract men that you can marry because you know exactly what your husband looks like. It is the woman in you that knows what your husband looks like, not the mother. The mother in you only knows how to step into that role in terms of nurturing, providing, and being a carer. She cannot identify what her husband looks like because that's not her role. You are as scripture says, she shall be called woman. Adam literally said it in Genesis 2. She shall be called woman because that is the identity that will reveal your spouse to you. Not your role as, not all this maternal instinct that you have going on. And this is what I show you how to do in Dating to Marry. So guys, I'm currently accepting applications, I'm going through applications. That's where a lot of this is coming from. I'm just working with clients, and seeing common themes in the way you guys are dating. If you want to work with me one-on-one and you want to start attracting men you can marry and really step into the identity of being a woman and resting your femininity, all you have to do is click the link in bio to apply. Okay, click the link in bio to apply to work with me, or you can send me a DM if you have any questions around that. So if you are too far gone in a relationship where you're giving off mother energy, you need to find your identity as a woman. You need to step into the identity as a woman. And this is a process, okay? It requires you to identify what are the feminine areas in your life that you can rest in. And, how you can use that to your advantage in the dating process, or if you're already in a relationship, how you can make that switch. And this is the work I do with clients in Dating to Marry. A lot of you do not know how much power you have in choosing your spouses and how much power you have in determining how you're going to meet quality men. You somehow assume that he will drop from the sky. And I don't mean literally, I just mean that you assume it's going to happen. And clearly that's not working, because that's not how things work in life. You don't sit down and hope for a job to find you. You don't sit down and hope that you will just move to a new location. Action is required. And this is why, in Dating to Marry, I approach the dating process. Yes, it's a Christian program, but I believe that faith without deeds is dead. James 2:26, one of my favorite scriptures. I believe there's an aspect that you have to play. There's a practical role you have to play in the manifestation of the promise of your marriage. And that's the practical role is what Dating to Marry lays down for you. Okay. So you guys, I have to go now. If you want to work with me one-on-one and you want to start attracting men you can marry, stepping into your feminine energy so that you can date as a wife as opposed to dating like a mother, click the link in bio to apply for Dating to Marry, or you can send me a DM if you have any questions about my Dating to Marry program. I'll see you guys soon. Make sure to watch this and share it with a sister friend. Okay? Bye.